What kind of people are these? Too weak to bury even their own father, but huddling like scared little mice in their home, waiting to be taken by this devil, or spending time drinking at the Blood on the Vine tavern that they can. It's dishonourable. I should put my blade in their guts and relieve them of their misery right now. But honour demands that this man be buried. Perhaps he was less craven than his children, losing his life to protect them. Can't see exactly how he died though. And besides, if I kill them, it would just mean all the more work, as I would have to bury them all. Why isn't the sun coming up? And what in the hills was that scream coming from the church just now? Oh, Puffy, what have we gotten ourselves into? This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
You stand in front of the entrance to the old church, pausing for a moment at the sound of the screaming. Silence falls, then, before the sound of sobbing starts up again. Ismark pauses for a moment, looks to the pair of you, and mutters under his breath, "I told you. There has been trouble in this church. Every night, strange sounds. I have come myself, but the priest will not answer the door, and the rest of the village for months now has just left this place be."
I stand there and I look at the church, still holding the dead body of the late father in my arms, and a bit taken aback at this sudden outburst of sound, and I look warily over at my horse to see if he's alright.
Your horse is fine. He's been through a lot with you. He doesn't startle that easily at the sounds of screams, for example.
This is good. And then I look over to Ismark, and I just raise an eyebrow.
Ismark frowns, looking back to Irina, who hangs back a bit, looking distracted by something. He turns back to you. "You said you'd help us bury him. Maybe you can reach through to the priest better than we could. Roman, you are a priest yourself."
I am indeed. I grasp my holy symbol, the amulet, around my neck, and I look at this church. I try to see if I can find any symbols or signs that this is indeed a church of Lathander, or is it alien to me? Is it different?
Roll me a religion test.
I get 13.
The church certainly seems to be a church that you're familiar with. It's got the same basic structure as any church you've seen before. Looking for some specific symbols, you do notice some typical symbols of Lathander. The sun, the road going towards the sun. It is above the doors. It's all very old and decayed, though. This church has seen strife. You notice immediately that the door, much like the mansion, has marks of fire and claws. This church has been assaulted in the past, perhaps many times. So yes, you do feel familiar with this church, although still very old, very old.
But seeing it, I look at these symbols that are at least somewhat familiar to me, and there is joy in my heart. He is here as well. What I feel, it is It is real. This gives me a lot of hope. But these signs, they are troubling. I speak to Ismark, Irina, and my new friend, Roshik. We had better go inside and see what is happening here. I will speak to the priests and try to get a better understanding of what has happened and why they're not taking proper care of their church. These symbols are in a sorry state. It should not be like this.
Do you mean to say that that scream just now was actually by the priest himself? Or herself?
Well, it is not in any ritual that I am aware of, so this must be something else. I would suggest you have your weapon at the ready, although, well, I don't think I need to tell you that, good friend.
Well, I mean, I've got my hands full right now. You get ready to bring out your extra one if you need to. Is that, by the way, is that you controlling that? How does that work? Or is that your god swinging the mace for you?
It is my will, but the power is Lathander's. I serve Lathander, and in return he grants gifts to his followers, such as myself. Yes, I will have that one at the ready, but I hope that we can speak with these priests and, yes, convince them to let us conduct this ritual. Come, let us go.
I look at you for a minute as you start moving, and then I start moving as well.
Ismark moves to you, Roshik, offering to take the body. He remarks, "Perhaps you should go forward first, friend. I shall take the body." Irina moves straight forwards and is stopped by Ismark holding up his hand. "Irina, do not just wander forwards. What are you thinking?" She makes an annoyed little huff, but then falls back behind both of you, as Ismark lets you both lead the way in. Do you go in?
I hesitate for a bit regarding his suggestion of taking over the body, seeing as I don't think he's strong enough to carry him by himself like this. And then I just shrug and say, This is a dead man's body, but we shouldn't handle it carelessly. Do you want me to just put it on the ground here while we go in and make sure everything is safe?"
Ismark frowns, but nods. "Perhaps that is best, yes. Let us leave my father to rest a moment."
I nod and I put him down carefully on the ground, obviously caring about honouring a dead man's body.
And you place the body on the ground, where it rests, as most bodies would. Dead. Devoid of life.
And then I put a hand on my scabbard and get ready to pull my sword if I have to.
How then do you enter? Do you just slowly open the doors? Do you just barge them open?
Hearing the screams coming from inside makes me think that, a courteous approach will likely yield very little. I instead opt to knock once with a heavy hand and then immediately open the door.
You knock, and you hear for a moment the sound of the sobbing stop. You then open the doors, swinging them wide into the church's interior. The doors open to reveal a 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall leading to a brightly lit chapel. The hall itself is unlit and reeks of mildew. 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall, lead to adjacent chambers. You can see that the chapel is strewn with debris, disarray, if you will. The benches where people once may have sat in front of the altar have been tossed about the place. Pages of old books are littering the floor. And there appears to be something else, but that would require perhaps a closer look. As I said, apart from the light at the chapel itself, the rest of the church seems to be quite dark.
I call forth light into the middle of this room, and I use my cantrip spell, Light.
You do, and a soft, bluish glow surrounds you, lighting the interior far better. You can certainly see now the traces of blood, littered across the walls, across the floor. Perhaps, Roshek, not the amount that implies a massacre has occurred here, but someone has certainly been bleeding. At this, a figure appears behind the altar, an old man in his 50s, his features sunken, torn, weary. He is wearing the black garbs of a priest. Perhaps around his neck there is some sort of symbol, but it seems to be slightly covered at the moment. Upon seeing you in your entrance, he immediately bellows at you. "Begone! Begone! This is the house of the Morning Lord. Begone, intruders! We are not seeing people right now. Begone! Begone! How dare you enter like this? How dare you?"
I come in the light of Lathander, in the light of the Morning Lord. We have a man that needs to be put to rest, and we require the use of this church for those purposes. We simply ask that you give us some time to perform this ritual, and then we will be off. We will leave you be.
He walks towards you quickly, for a moment looking like he'll immediately bellow again. But he does then listen to your words. He regards you, Roman. He notices the symbols on your neck. He pauses. "Is another priest of the Morning Lord? I see. But there's no time. There's no." He goes back to the altar. Multiple candles lit. You notice at this point, Roman, not lit in any neat or orderly way. They are haphazardly strewn across the place. Random intervals, just candles lit with light. He kneels down on his knees and starts muttering, "Praise be the Morning Lord. Deliver us, deliver him from this evil. Praise. Is this assistance? Have you sent me assistance?"
I go to kneel beside him and join him in prayer. Nod to Roshik first to, try to send a signal to keep watch. There is clearly something going on here.
When he was starting to move up towards us, I first loosened the sword in my scabbard because I got me a bit wary. Seeing all this blood and carnage taking place in here, I don't fully trust this man. But when they start doing some sort of ritual, I'm probably not interpreting the signal that Roman is trying to send to me properly, so I go out to get the body.
Very well. You go out to collect the body. Ismark peeking in, looking concerned. He remarks to you, "It is as I thought. He looks mad, grief-stricken. I cannot blame him, I suppose."
Looks like this church has been assaulted much like your house. I don't know anything about this priest, but yeah, mad seems to be a fairly fitting description.
Ismark looks like he's going to say something to you. He then pauses. He just shakes his head. Maybe your priest friend can talk some sense into him. Just be careful. We've been hearing those screams every night for months. I do not believe they belong to the priest.
And I pick up the body and I start moving back into the church, and I say, well, they do seem to have some sort of brotherly communion. And I walk up closer to where they are sat.
Roman, the priest, continues to chant with you. His chant, though, is not measured. It is not well practiced. If anything, some parts of it seem completely off. He doesn't mention Lathander's name once. There's a great emphasis on the Morning Lord, though, and his bringing of light. But every second sentence or two, he keeps saying, "Deliver him. Please deliver him, bring him back to us. Morning Lord, your light, your assistance, when long, come back to us, come back, please." He opens his eyes, looks to you, And then another scream fills the church, much louder now, from where you are standing, coming somewhere... Roll me a perception check.
15.
It's close. Perhaps below? It's hard to tell with the acoustics of the church echoing around you. The screaming is a wail of pain, of misery, and then you think you catch for a moment some words. Father! Father, please! At this, the priest opens his eyes and looks to you, Roman. He must be delivered. Did the Morning Lord send you? Did he send you to help?
I believe that he did. That is the only reason that I can see that I am in this strange land. Tell me, brother, are there crypts underneath the church? Is that where this wailing is coming from?
Father! Feed me! Father, please! The priest bellows once more. Silence! Silence! Crypts. Yes, he's in the crypts. But can you... You do not understand. He is the darkness. It has claimed him. He needs to see the light again. They won't understand. He points to Roshik. He will not understand. You will understand. Do you know how to purge the darkness? Do you know how to bring those back from the night? Do you? This is known to you?
I am familiar with the ways of bringing light into the dark against creatures of... Yes, creatures who have been away from the light for too long. I will bring the light of Lathander to this person, and hopefully that will change things. Hopefully he will see the light.
Swear it! Swear it, he says, and he reaches forward to grasp your hand in his if you let him.
I allow him to do that, and I solemnly swear to him I will do everything in my power to save this soul. I will bring the light of Lathander to those who need it. The light here is faint, but it's there. And seeing this church and hearing your words has made me believe that there is hope, and there is purpose for me to be here. Come, let us go.
He starts to drag you along to a corner of the chapel interior, towards what looks like a trap door leading downwards. It is currently bolted with multiple chains and padlocks. He looks to you again. Forget this talk of hope. Forget this talk of glory. There is none. You must just swear to promise to save him. That is all that matters. He must be saved. You understand? He must be saved. The Morning Lord...
I nod.
He has left us. But perhaps... Yes, you will come and bring him back. Yes, you will. Of course you will. He then looks to you, Roshik. You! Stand back. You will stay back. I do not trust him. He will not understand.
I stand there and I look at them questioningly, not so incredibly impressed with this display. This man deserves his last rites. Can we just do that first, please?
All in good time. All in good time. We are closed. The church is closed. Gone. He pauses at your questioning, Roshek, clutching his head, clutching his holy symbol, looking very distraught.
I put the man down then, up in the church hall, and I shrug and I start making my way out of there towards Ismark.
Ismark is waiting at the entrance with Irina. He pokes his head in and frowns. There is something not right about this, Roshek. I do not think you should just let them go down there.
Are you sure? That priest seems to think they've got some sort of, I don't know, ritual to do. It's not really my place.
The priest has been alone here for months. I do not understand. What are they speaking about? Why are they going? What's going on?
I don't know, and I don't know what happened in here either, but apparently something made it in. I look around, do I see any bodies or any sign of, where this blood would come from?
No, you do not. You see the signs of a struggle, the signs of the broken entry at the front of the church, but then this church doesn't seem very secure anyway, to your eyes. It probably wouldn't be that difficult for creatures to break in.
Well, if they started making their way into that door and wherever it is, I discreetly start following them, but with my sword drawn.
You start to wander back in slowly, again passing those doors, the 2 doors on the right, the 2 doors on the left, that seem to lead to other parts of this church other than the main chapel. Of course, by this point, the priest has already begun to unlock the door, the trapdoor, leading downwards. He slowly lifts the trapdoor, a low creak, filling the silence of the church. As he does so, that wail starts up again. Father, yes? Yes, Father? Food! Food! The priest just shakes his head and looks at you, Roman, and gestures for you to follow, leading you down a flight of stairs. There would be no light, except, of course, that you currently still have your holy light about you. And that leads the way down the stairs that descend a good 9 or 10 steps at least into this dark undercroft.
Yes, I continue following the priest. I'm grasping my holy symbol and I'm muttering a prayer to Lathander. I have, of course, not that much experience dealing with, well, what I believe to be something tainted with darkness. But I have faith in my God that I have found again, and yes, it will be okay. Everything will be well. All will be well. His light will see to it.
Indeed, and you start to see a little bit of this undercroft. Its walls are rough-hewn, and the floor looks like it is made of damp clay and earth. Rotting wooden pillars strain under the weight of the wooden ceiling. Candlelight from the chapel above, as well as the light you are emulating, helps you see this. And then, in this sort of empty chamber, you notice a figure. Far in the corner of this chamber. The chamber, by the way, isn't small. It would take you at least a minute to walk across it, so it is quite big by that standard. So this figure seems quite far away as you're just descending down the stairs. It seems to be chains. Yes, something is chained up. And then your light reveals something else as you descend to the bottom of the stairs. A number of corpses. 3, 4, maybe 5, strewn about. Robes and monk clothing on their person.
I look at these bodies. Are they old? Have they been here for a long time, or is this recent?
Roll me a perception check.
I get 19.
You step away from the steps, finally in this basement. You go to one of the bodies, turning it over. His face is emaciated, drained of life, it seems. He seems to have been here for some time. Yes, you are familiar with the stages of decomposition in a corpse. You are a priest. Many months this body has been here. Another one looks the same. They all look like they have been here for some time. Blood splattered on their clothing now. Faces contorted in horror. And yes, sunken. The skin drained of something, perhaps. You can't quite tell at this moment. The priest moves over to you and pats you on the shoulder. It doesn't matter. They are gone. They are gone now. They are with the Morning Lord. Yes, they are. They are. Come, over here. Are you ready? Are you ready? Be careful. You must be careful. Will you be careful?
Yes, I will be careful. And I start moving towards where, well, this person who was speaking, this chained creature.
This creature at the end of the hallway hisses and screeches at you as it sees you approach, the light you are emanating seeming to distress it greatly. You hear it rattling against the chains. For a moment, it looks like he will burst forth. And then, no. A whining sound, a moaning. Oh, hungry. And the creature seems to still as the light brings forth more of its details. Do you approach further? The priest seems to be stopping.
I stop at the distance where he's stopping, and I put my head to the side and I look at this creature. It was human, yes?
You certainly think so. You can now fully see this chained person on the wall. A boy. No, not a boy. A young man. Yes. Maybe just a little older than he would have been. Yes. He has long dark hair, though it is matted and messy now. He is covered in dried out bloodstains, wearing rags pretty much covering him. He looks to be a young man, yes, but his face is sunken, distorted. Something at his mouth. Is that dried blood? His eyes stare at you now in the light. He seems to calm for a moment, and he quietly whispers to you, "You've come to feed me. Father's brought you to feed me. Please, mercy. I just need food. Please let me go. Please, feed me. Please.
I look to the priest, and I look to the boy. I try to think to myself, is this a condition that I am in any way familiar with? Is this something that I'm aware of, well, how it should be handled? Is this an undead creature in front of me?
I'll let you tell me what you want to roll.
Then I shall roll for insight. And I get a result of 6.
You're slightly confused by the situation. You understand something is wrong. You know that. But you're not quite sure. At this point, you need more information. Why is he chained up? What does he want? Why are there bodies? These are questions you don't immediately know the answer to. This boy is suffering, though. That is very clear. He is suffering terribly. You can almost feel it, even from this distance. And you also get a feeling that you shouldn't step too much closer. Roshek, you are upstairs, slowly descending to where they were. You have entered the chapel again. What are you doing?
Well, I'm making my way downwards. Treading carefully, listening to the increasing volume of the voices and sounds that goes on below.
Yes, you totally can hear these. Not as clearly as Roman, but you have heard more talking. The sound of someone in pain, someone in agony. You descend those creaking old stone stairs, and of course also now in the light filling this chamber notice the corpses.
I also go over to look at them for a bit, and I poke at them with my sword, checking the side of their faces and stuff, and I look up to see the Roman and the priest standing at the edge of the hall.
Roll me either survival or medicine, or wisdom, whichever's higher.
Survival. I have a proficiency in that. 19 plus 1.
You kneel down and perhaps take a much closer look than Roman was looking at one of these corpses. After all, you are familiar, very, very familiar, with immediately dead individuals. He has been drained, emaciated. You notice something on the neck, and you sort of lightly bring the neck towards you in the light that you can see, and there are puncture marks. 2, very clumsily inserted in the neck, as if something attacked him in the neck. Maybe ravaged his throat or something.
What does that mean to me?
You're not quite sure, I don't think. You maybe know that wolves and other creatures sometimes can go for the neck. It's a very good source of blood. But I do not believe you would be that familiar with this particular injury.
So maybe some sort of animal then, because this might be some sort of bite marks then, yeah.
It certainly looks violent. This was not a gentle attack. You check the corpse and he was ravaged quite in a frenzy almost.
So could that be by the fellow that's being chained here at the end of the hall?
I don't know. It seems logical, doesn't it? Roman, the priest has now started kneeling and is muttering and chanting to himself. He then looks at you. Right, this is the moment. Come, I will pray. Bring him back to us. Bring him back to the light.
I look at the young man and I put my faith in my God. I put my faith in Lathander and I call for his assistance. I go with my gut feeling. I go with my hunch. This cannot be something that is still alive. This must be an undead being, and if it's not, then Lathander will show me the way. So I will channel divinity and turn undead. And I hold up my holy symbol, the rising sun of the morning lord, and I yell to the young man, "There will be light. You will bathe in the light of the morning lord. Look!" And I hold it up and it shines up this room brightly. And yes, what happens?
He wails in agony, searing misery on his face. He writhes at the chains. "Get away from me! Get away from me! Feed me! Get me out!" And he's struggling at these chains, doing everything in his power to get out. You notice one of the chains seems to be coming loose a little. You have greatly upset and disturbed this creature now.
Yes, and I see that it is having the effect that I expected. This truly is an undead being, and Lathander prescribes only one remedy for such a disease, and that is to purge the disease, that is to destroy the creature. And I take my mace and I take my shield, and I start moving towards the creature.
As you draw your mace, the priest's eyes widen in horror. He stands up and immediately steps in front of you. "What are you doing? What are you doing, man?"
"This is an abomination. It must be destroyed. Lathander demands it. Surely you know this, priest of the morning lord."
No, you said you would help him. No, he's getting in your way, Roman. He is not an abomination. He's my son. He is my son. You said you would help. You said you would help. You swore.
"He is no longer your son. He is a demon, and demons must be destroyed. Move, brother."
He does not. If anything, he starts to try and hold your mace down. He starts yelling, "No! No! You lied! You fiends! Get out of here! Be gone from my church! Be gone! Be gone and leave us!"
And I then cast Hold Person. The intention being to hold this man in place while I deal with this abomination. I cannot have him disturbing me while I do my work.
You cast your words of hold, and you see the priest look at you in horror, and then immediately, completely still. Your spell has worked. He cannot move at all. You can see him straining to move, but no, he has become paralyzed.
"Wait there, brother," I say, and I again start to move towards this young man. I look back also. Is Roshik in the room with me?
He is indeed, as you turn back to look. Roshik, what are you doing?
I'm moving up towards them, and I was going to try and hold the priest away, or because I didn't trust his intentions with my friend. But then when I saw him freeze up, I stopped, and as I see Roman looking back at me, I just look at him, nothing really in my eyes, waiting for him to tell me what to do.
Let's put this man to rest, shall we?
I nod, and I move up beside him.
As I'm approaching, I start to cast my spiritual weapon spells as well. I will need all the help and all the weapons that I can get for this. Creatures such as this should not be taken lightly, I know that much. And Lathander is helping to hold it down now, but even his power is not unending. So I call forth my spiritual weapon, my glowing mace of Lathander, and it is with me now.
Please roll initiative.
16.
20.
This combat has begun. The priest is held still by your spell of holding, and this creature is now straining at these chains, two of which you notice have suddenly sprung forth from the wall. You have terrified this creature with your holy radiance. You know how that works. It is doing everything it can to get away from you. But it is your turn, Roman. What do you do?
Yes, I move up to it, and both myself holding my mace and my floating spectral mace next to me, we both make to strike against this unholy abomination in front of us, and I shall begin to attack. My own attack gets a 7.
You move to strike at this beast with all your might, and you crash your mace down where its head is. But then it's not. It has suddenly burst forth, another chain loosened, and completely avoided your attack, as it's now practically out.
And then my bonus action is the spectral weapon, the spiritual weapon, makes its attack roll. And it does not fare much better. 10.
Indeed, it also misses the target completely, grazing the wall where the chains once were. You were not expecting this creature to suddenly be able to move. It's moving at a very unnatural speed. This is faster than a normal man, a boy, would move.
I grit my teeth and I grunt in frustration at this. Surely Lathander's light should have held it still.
I grab my longsword with both my hands as my shield is still left up on the horse. And I see this quick moves, and I try to calculate it and make for an attack, if I can find an opening.
You certainly can, although you will need to use your movement to come in and get to the attack.
Alright, what if I make a lunging attack, as I am a battle master, which allows me to increase the reach with 5 feet.
Brilliant. Do that, yes, that will work.
Okay, so that's let's see, 10 plus 6 to hit. Yeah, 16 then.
You move forward and lunge with your practiced lunging maneuver, and your weapon hits true. Roll damage.
10 plus 4 plus 2, so 16.
Your weapon drives its way solidly into this creature's side. You expect blood to start pouring out, but actually only dust seems to come from this wound. Maybe a little blood, but not enough. The creature snarls at you in anger and pain before finally throwing off all his chains. He stands before you then, this emaciated figure. You're closer now, Roshik. This figure is just a boy, isn't it? Maybe an older boy, but just a boy. How can it withstand such a wound? However, Roman, your holy radiance still glows bright, and this creature cannot face you. Winces, and immediately darts past both of you, running from your light, running towards the staircase, and just reaching the bottom of the staircase in this turn. Meanwhile, the priest moans and whines, and slowly his body starts to move again. He breaks from your hold, tears streaming down his face. He looks to the creature running, he looks back to you, he just screams, "Run, my son, run from these murderers!" and collapses to the floor to his knees. It is your go, Roman.
I dart after the young man. He has freed himself, but that does not change what needs to be done here. It does not change the outcome that Lathander is expecting. Both me and my spiritual weapon, we make to strike at the young man as he's running. My strike goes to 11.
And again, you can't quite keep up with this creature. It darts to the left. It is terrified of you, Roman. It does not want to be anywhere near you.
And then my mace, it makes its attack, and hopefully this fares better. 21.
Your mace, on the other hand, smashes straight into the head of this creature. Roll damage.
8.
A solid knock on the head from the mace seems to stun this creature for a moment. It staggers a little before again trying to climb up the stairs. It is still terrified of your holy presence. You know the full force of your god is behind you right now. No undead creature could withstand this for long. What do you do, Roshuk?
I react to this first from the unnaturalness of there's no blood or anything, so I'm not sure what to make of this, but it seems like I might have hurt it. I try to run after as well. Will I be able to catch up to make an attack as well?
With one movement, standard movement, yes. The stairs were just that exact amount away.
Alright. So I will do that then. Do I think I've hurt it?
It is certainly showing some wounds. Again, the one from the side is still leaking that strange bloody dust-type substance, and the head wound certainly looks like it's just staggered this creature. It has certainly been wounded, although, again, it seems extremely hardy. It should be worse off than this. This is not a natural boy anymore. There is something amiss here.
Right. So after the mace is hit on the head, I try to catch up to it on the other side to give it another attack. And I roll 16 plus 6, so 22.
Your attack hits hard, roll damage.
2 plus 4, 6.
And another good strike, this time to the leg, searing through its flesh and bone. A wound like this normally would, you feel, take a man down a bit, but this creature shrugs it off in a scream of pain. For a moment, is the wound a little smaller than it was before? Maybe, but no, not much. No, these wounds still are definitely upon this creature. It turns to both of you, swiping a hand at you to ward you away before scrambling up the stairs. You feel it could have easily cleared the whole stairs in one swift movement, but that wound to the leg, it stumbles a little and it only just about gets to the top. It seems to be almost climbing up the stairs now rather than walking up them, but it is climbing with an eerie precision and skill. Roman is now almost at the top of the stairs. What do you do?
I continue. I must not let this creature escape. That is not an option. That is not something that... No, that is not something that I must allow to happen. Am I able to still attack the young man?
He is at the top of the stairs, which I would say was still another 30 feet away.
Yes, I will not let him escape. I move after him, running, and I try to catch up, and again, both of my weapons strike at this creature.
Roll those attacks.
Yes, and it continues. 11 on the attack of my mace.
And again, you just can't quite land that hit. You're not really... It's been a very long time, hasn't it, Roman, since you've had to chase something like this down on stairs. You are not quite yourself. And again, your blow hits the masonry.
And my spiritual weapon, however, lands an 18.
Roll damage.
And it gets 7 force damage.
Another solid hit to the head as this creature is crawling up the stairs. It wails in pain, screaming, "Leave me be! Leave me! Creature of light! Go! I just want to feed!"
I try to catch up with the both of them to be able to attack the creature as well. I move up and I start to realize that we're not really damaging this thing. It's like it's taking some painful blows, but I don't know if it's gonna make a difference. But maybe if I do, if I attack it enough, maybe we can subdue it somehow.
It is certainly starting to slow a little. It is not as hearty as it was when you started this encounter. Your wounds are still there, and it is still bleeding. Well, bleeding whatever it is bleeding.
Alright. Well, I'm trying to catch up with it and attack it as well.
One move, one attack, roll.
20.
That is a critical hit. So please, roll your damage dice.
So 15.
You charge up the stairs and drive down your weapon solidly into this creature's torso. It connects. You feel your blade grow through this individual, striking the paved stone stairs beneath it. Oh! It yells in pain. You have practically speared this thing through. This is a grievous wound. But then as you withdraw, he is still moving. He should be dead. He probably is nearly dead now, you think maybe, but he is still moving. This has not stopped him properly, but it was a very good hit. It's still practically a hole is now in this creature's torso.
Seeing this, I draw upon my action surge to do one more bonus attack. It's 11 plus 6, 17.
That's a hit.
And it's not as powerful, it's a 2 plus 4 is 6.
Yes. Another good blow to its side as it scrambles away from you. It is leaving behind now this black sludge, blood-like substance all over these stairs. As it crawls screaming, trying to get away. The screams are becoming more and more weak and pathetic. Less the cries of a beast. More for a moment you think the cries of a boy, a young man, just being butchered. The priest behind you wailing. He's staggering towards you on the stairs, but he has not the strength to catch up with you now. He's just watching this scene, his expression one of horror and misery at what you're doing. The creature clambers up to the stairway. It's still trying to escape, but then from above, suddenly another attack rains down upon this creature. Ismark has appeared above at the top of the stairway from the trapdoor. He is looking at you with horror as he boots this creature back down in the face. Gods, Donovich, what have you been hiding down here? Roman, it is your turn.
I feel that we are close now. I just go in to smash this thing into oblivion. Go into the light, creature! I scream, and I attack. And my own mace again gets 8.
Indeed, you go forwards, but for a moment Roshik's in the way. After all, there are now 2 of you clambering around on these stairs. You kind of have to slow your blow a little to not hit him. What of your mace, though?
And my spiritual weapon fares better, and it gets 18.
Roll damage.
And I get 4.
Certainly a good hit, although it again feels only like a glancing blow. But this creature seems to be slowing finally now. Ismark is at the top of the stairs. You and Roshik directly between it. It is now trapped between you and screaming as your light just sears into it. It's so close now, it almost barely seems able to think. Your go, Roshik.
At this, hearing these tormented sounds and of this boy, I hesitate. This is no honourable fight. We're fighting a helpless creature that's trying to get away from us. A killer, sure. I mean, maybe that's what killed those people. But I don't know that. And I don't like taking a fight where
where I don't have an opponent who fights back. So I hesitate for a bit, and then I think I step back.
You step back, taking one full step back behind Roman. This creature pauses for a moment, looking at you, before again trying to force its way up those stairs past Ismark. It bats him aside, although again it then falls to its legs. Ismark just looks to you both and then again shoves his sword now hard into this creature's side. But again, his attack seems nothing. He barely scratches it. He staggers back for a moment. Doru? It's Doru! It's you! What have you become? My gods. My gods. Roman, what do you do?
This must come to an end. This has gone on for too long. I attack again. This time my own mace fares better and I get 22 on my own attack.
Roll damage.
And I get 5 on my first attack.
Very good. Roll your next one.
That one fares less well, and I get 7.
Finally, your spiritual mace seems to hang back for a moment as you yourself emerge back in the chapel, swinging your mace down hard on this creature. He falls before you now, crawling on the floor, black blood spilling across the holy floors of this church. Roshek, it is your turn.
I walk behind them, I follow them, with my longsword still in hand, but I don't engage.
The creature turns onto its side, wailing, weeping, staggering towards the altar of the candles. It looks to you, Roman. Mercy? Mercy! Please! Mercy from the light!
Lathander will give you rest, creature. Only Lathander can give you rest.
Ismark lowers his weapon now, just looking confused. Between the pair of you, the priest has staggered out of the cellar. He just falls to his knees. Mercy! Mercy, you swore! You swore! Roman, your turn.
I continue to swing badly. I move up to attack, and I get a 7 on my own attack, and I get a 20 on the spiritual weapon.
Your spiritual weapon smacks down hard into the creature, a resounding thunk on its head. It cannot move from your next attack, and you smash into it with your mace with all your might.
Yes, and I just keep on smashing until it stops moving, screaming, Lathander!
Scream indeed as you rain blow upon this creature. And suddenly, it moves no more. It begins to disintegrate, its body turning into black dust that falls away, until finally, in a few moments it seems, there is just dust and some clothing in front of you.
Rest now, child, I say, and I start catching my breath, realizing that I've just been running after this creature, trying to hit it again and again and again, and just... But now it is done. It is done. I have done my god's work. I have fulfilled his wishes. The world is a better place now.
You certainly have, Roman. But something is missing. You do not feel the usual light that would come from this. You know you have just killed something unholy. It is obvious. And yet, all you hear is silence and the sobbing of the priest on the floor, weeping to himself, repeating again and again, "You lied. You lied. My son. My son."
I move up beside a Roman, and I stand there looking at the pile of rags and dust on the floor, and I trace it with my longsword, drawing in the dust, taking it all in. What in the hells was that?
Yes, Roman. What in the hells was that? Roll me a religion check.
Yes, I roll 6.
It was something undead. Something with great strength and speed. Those blows should have felled it long ago, especially in the state it was in. I mean, it was chained up and a mess. Had it killed those men? Was it at its full strength and power? You're not sure. You have an inkling, but you're still not entirely sure what manner of creature this was. It's escaping you right now. Although perhaps it wasn't. Perhaps it's because it didn't seem at its full strength you can't quite make sense of things.
I am not certain, friend. I am only certain that it was an undead abomination. It was already dead, you see. It had already breathed its last breath long ago. We simply ended its suffering. That is what we did here.
And I look over at the priest and Ismark, and is Irina in here as well?
Irina does seem to have stepped in. She's watching the scene with a somber expression. Ismark has gone to the priest. He has attempted to offer him some condolence. The priest just turns away. The sobbing is quieter now, perhaps more accepting. He looks to you, Roman, the priest, his eyes full of a moment hate, anger. You did swear. You didn't keep that promise. To his son. It was his son, wasn't it? His young son.
Once it was. But at the state it was in, it was no longer his son. His son was dead, thus freeing me from any promise that I had made regarding that. That is how I justify it to myself. Whether or not it will hold truth to my God is something that only he can decide.
There is silence now for a moment. Roshek, what do you do?
I ponder this as well. I look at Roman, I look at the priest, pondering this. That's thinking it's important to keep your sworn word, but maybe he's right. Maybe that was no longer his son. I pull out a piece of cloth from a side pocket and start cleaning off my sword. Thoughtful.
I dismiss my spiritual weapon and I look to the priest. He seems to be, yes, he is no threat. So I motion to Ismark and to Irina. Let us get this ceremony done. Let us move quickly. We have much to do.
Ismark nods towards you and moves over to the body. Well, what remains of the body. Doru. We fought him dead months and months ago, fallen with the others. I guess he lived. Turned into one of those creatures. He looked to the priest. You were hiding him here the whole time, weren't you? The priest just mutters to himself.
I walk over to the priest, still my long sword in hand, and I ask him, Did you use your brothers to feed him? Is that what you did?
No. They helped me get him down below. He attacked them. Only I was able to deliver the final chain to stop him. It doesn't matter. You've killed him. He is gone forever. Nothing matters. Ismark comes over at this point. Donovich, please, help us bury father. You can do that, can't you? priest looks towards Roman. He is a priest. He can do it. Go, Berry. The burgomaster. The burgomaster is dead, is he? Of course he is. We all will be soon. Do as you wish. The priest rises and moves away. Ismark looks at the pair of you and goes, I suppose we have a body to bury.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign Curse of Strahd for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Curse of Strahd was designed by Christopher Perkins and based on the adventure Ravenloft, written by Tracy and Laura Hickman in 1983. Dungeons & Dragons is published by Wizards of the Coast. The music is created by Metatron Omega, Flowers for Body Snatchers and Word Clock, and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for more tasty dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us feedback, comments and input there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a huge thank you to our growing base of supporters. You are truly amazing and inspire us so much to keep going with the show. If you haven't yet found us on Patreon, please have a look at the links in the description and see if you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work with the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters have access to extra material such as our bonus Q&A podcast Ask for the Moon, where we discuss all topics and questions our Patreons have for us. You can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thank you for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.